I'm so sorry.
Oh, that is absolutely staying in.
Oh no.
Hi everyone.
I'm so sorry. Tea gives me burps during the day. I don't know why.
She's drinking tea. It's not a euphemism. Hi. What is that white thing there? That's...
It's you, dear.
It's my mug. Well, it's you, dear. Fucking hell. Well, we've already sworn. Hi everybody. Welcome back to Doctor Who Review. I'm Chris.
I'm not great.
And it's been not long for you. It's been about 2.5 months
for us.
Because other stuff's been priority, but also, let's just talk about it. Someone here is really reluctant to do the next stretch of the show. Do you want to, in one word, sum up why?
Companions.
Someone here has only seen a bit of the next era of the show and dislikes, let's be honest, Ryan in particular so much.
It's not even necessarily the character. This is my personal opinion. I just think the actor is terrible. I just think he sounds like he's in a GCSE final
Major project. She's not a fan of Toes and Cole, basically.
Very boring. Very...
But we'll get to that in the next video. But it does mean that as we are now, right now, in this period in time that we're recording, it is the 27th of September. Oh, I wonder why my wallpaper's looking like that. Is it because the trailer came out 4 days ago? It is the 27th of September for us in 2023. We are just under 2 months away from the 60th anniversary of the show. And the way we're going to be going for this series, I think we've alluded to it before, but just to reiterate for those who've been following and have had other stuff to do, we are going to, as part of Doctor Who Review, we are going to watch the 60th specials, and we're going to watch the festive/Christmas special, and then after that, there's no structured plan for this, because the part of it was a binge watch, and watching alongside the new stuff coming out, it's not a binge watch. Like, maybe what we'll do is we'll do like a follow-up video after each series and just talk about our favourite bits and pieces or whatever.
Sure.
Because I have a feeling with Shooty's first series we're going to be watching it like weekly.
I hope so.
Properly tuning in. And...
Well, that's how I felt for Jodie's era. And watched the first few episodes and I was like, oh, that Ryan is annoying. Oh, I can get through it though. Oh no, I can't watch this. This is bad. I am leaving.
And if people are like, but hang on, we want to continue following your thoughts, just feel free to ask us in comments or wait for us to do little roundup videos. We're like, yeah, that series was cool. Like,
I thought you were going to say, feel free to ask us in person. What?
Yeah.
No, please don't come up to me in person and say, what do you think of Doctor Who?
Who knows? Maybe in like 5-6 years' time we go, do you know what? Let's do review and we pick up from season 14 and do it again. Do you know what I mean? Like, as like a binge watch from the start of Shooty's era. Who knows? But when we started this, our target was to just watch up to what was out on TV. And as of this recording, not as you watching it, there's a significant like jumping off point for this review series coming up, which is the 60th anniversary. Well, Power of the Doctor could have been the jumping off point, but the 60th anniversary, and also when there's a festive special not long after, it's like, yeah, let's do that as well. Why not? Like, tip the hat to the start of Shooty's era, and then in the future, if we do want to pick this up again, we can, but it won't be for a while. We're not going to do it as it's coming out concurrently, folks. So
we will never, ever make a video again.
Goodbye! Goodbye, everyone.
Jamie.
What?
Speaking of Jamie.
I was going to say, but one other interesting thing that's happened decision-wise over the course of our marathon is that since we started, a few stories have been completed. Missing stories that are either partly in existence or, were telesnap recreations with the audio intact but nothing more. Like, they've been found or they've been finished. Mostly finished. It's the audio that was completed, but the visuals not so much. So as a result, they've been animated. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, you might be thinking, what about Galaxy 4? because as of this recording, Galaxy 4 has been out as well. We kind of watched Galaxy 4.
Which one's that?
The army of ladies who were like...
Oh, yeah, with the pressure
Dravins.
chamber.
Stephen choking in the airlock. The Chumbleys.
The Chumbleys!
There we go. So it was a great story. What we watched was a sort of 50-minute edit of it that was on one of the Hartnell DVDs using the existing audio and the existing visuals, remember, to construct like a version of it.
I don't feel like I missed out.
Yeah, like we've still... I don't think watching the animated version is going to give us much more...
Maybe one day, but like not immediately.
Well, that's the thing. The reason why we're recording this now and not, say, when the Underwater Menace recon comes out, for example, is because I don't want to keep buying them, the animated recons, because one day I'll have them again in the collection box sets.
Yeah.
So the urge to rewatch Galaxy 4 in a new format, yeah, I'd like to. But I could wait, until we get a season 3 collection set in like the next 10 years. I can wait.
God, was that Billy?
That was Billy. It was
Hartnell.
Hartnell.
A lot of companions, didn't it?
Oh, God, he chucking loads of them, yeah. Went through loads.
Gosh.
But someone over here, after everything we've watched, still has a definitive favourite Doctor. And a definitive favourite TARDIS team, or sort of mathematical formula for a TARDIS team.
Yes.
For you, it's still the second Doctor plus Jamie plus whoever else they're with equals favourite team.
I love the Doctor and Jamie. I love them. I could watch every story that's ever been in Doctor Who with the Doctor and Jamie.
What, like sat on the couch for you? Oh, this is a good bit, eh?
I wish. I'm saddened that he's not really Scottish.
Fraser?
Yeah, and he doesn't wear a kilt. Is he quite small? He's quite small, isn't he? Is he small?
Well, yeah, but when I met him, but like he is, in his advanced years, and we all do tend to shrink a bit.
I want to meet him and hug him and say thank you for being Jamie. Because I love Jamie. I do, genuinely. I love the Doctor and Jamie. It makes my heart warm.
Well, here's the thing. After we finished the second Doctor's era, what was it? It was a little while later. You were talking about how you missed... Actually, I think it was around the time... of the two Doctors.
Sorry.
Disclaimer for everybody. There's a fond and fancy, I'm sure.
The Christmas ones.
Oh, God. I think it was after we watched the two Doctors. The sixth Doctor story. With Colin and Nicola and Fraser and Pat in it, with the Androgum and the Sontarans filming in Spain. And Colin's, quite frankly, amazing waistcoat. I think it was after we watched that, you just suddenly had this like big pang to revisit them, and you went on like Amazon and eBay and spent like 50 quid on a bunch of...
The most expensive... I bought them second hand. The most expensive one I bought was the Roundheads, because that was new print. And written by Mark Gatto. Our friend Mark Gatto. I like to say our friend because I love Mark Gators. What's happening? What are you laughing at?
Completely derailed a point that would have taken 20 seconds.
Sorry.
To say.
Sorry.
Just before we recorded.
Sorry.
Not Chris was like, oh, do we have to? You're always a bit reluctant with the recordings. Then we start them and you have a really good time and it finishes and you're like, oh, do we have to do it again anytime soon?
I know,
and yet, 90% of them,
I'm a fidgeter, that's why.
It's you rambling on.
I'm a fidgeter. I can't sit still and do something. I'm sorry.
Don't apologise, it's hilarious.
Yeah, the Roundheads is really good.
So she bought a load of Second Doctor books, basically, to sort of scratch the itch of not having more. But here in our currently, as it stands, last bonus video, we have more. 4 more. Each of them were stories that we either dived into the surviving episodes of or read summations of the story as part of our initial marathon.
Yeah. There isn't one of these for Marco Polo, is there?
There is not, no. But that's why I bought you the Target novel.
Yeah.
So if you want to experience it, you can read the Target novel. That's why we have the Target novel Celestial Toymaker, which has turned out to be rather prescient. Yeah. Anywho.
Doctor.
Not full analyses, just some thoughts. The Macra Terror. Jamie, Ben, Polly. I referred to this as... Let's talk about the stories and then we'll talk about the animation afterwards. I referred to this as basically it was like watching someone do a future set version of We Happy Few.
Yeah.
Like, it was really unnerving, wasn't it?
I thought it was very good.
Like, the creepiest thing in it was the whole, like, everyone's great, it's all fantastic. All these jingles, we're all going to sing.
Jingles.
This society's amazing. And then it's like, this society's amazing because they're using these machines to brainwash people in their sleep to keep them happy.
Don't say you're sad.
Don't say you're upset. And it's like, okay.
Don't have an opinion.
And it's like, how much of it... Well, I guess all of it was under the Macra's influence, wasn't it, initially?
Yeah.
Because it's like, how much of this is sort of corporate greed or interest? But it's like, no, because everyone starts to come out of it by the end.
What was it they wanted? Was it gas?
It was a gas they were mining, yeah. The sequences, like, in the tunnels, like, the sort of the non-squeaky clean corridors and everything.
Yeah.
Underneath was really creepy. Yeah. The bit where Ben and Polly were out late at night and they find one. Like, they're attacked by one.
Oh, yeah.
Whilst he's sort of under the influence and he's like, get back inside and everything.
He's been kind of indoctrinated, really, kind of, hasn't he?
And I love that it's like, while they're napping, essentially, it's just... It shows that each of them are easy to influence in a different way. And Ben is obviously the most easily swayed. Because Polly, when she wakes up, she's like, yeah, no, I've got this, like, thing in my head. And she's describing the fact she feels kind of loyal to the base and wants to work. But it's stopped soon enough that she doesn't really understand like what's happening, and then is like, oh wait, they're doing this? Oh my god, yeah, no, that's weird, I shouldn't be thinking that. And Jamie the Doctor just basically screwdriver shanked the things to death to stop themselves getting hit by it.
I love that he has a screwdriver, but it's not a sonic screwdriver, it's just a screwdriver.
At this point, yeah. I like the really sort of snarky, horrible head of security, who even in the Happy Society is a bit of a prick.
Who did he make us think of? What did he make us think of? I'm sure there was something.
Can't remember this.
It was funny though. I've just completely forgotten what I was going to say.
Fantastic.
La, 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 la. Yeah, it was good. It was he was very like panto villain almost, wasn't he?
In a good way,
yeah.
Absolutely. Jamie wandering into basically like the wellness exercise class.
Oh, stop it!
That was brilliant. That was really funny.
So funny because I can picture it in my head how it actually would have been.
Yeah.
Not animated, obviously. That just makes me laugh.
The Big Brother-esque like broadcast of like the boss of the station, like this face, and then when we finally see the real guy, and you realise that they're basically kind of using him as a filtration almost, because he's like he's screaming in horror. That was really cool. And obviously, what's interesting about this is because like we both grew up with Doctor Who repeats, and our parents being like, "Oh God, watch this! This is fun. Oh, this is cool." Like,
this is terrifying. Watch this.
But like our era, obviously, in terms of us watching it go out, is the start of the modern era, and it's really cool to go back properly and be like, right, so these are the Macra. Like, this is what they are. They're still big. They're not kaiju sized, but they're still big. Like the size of a
bigger than a normal crab.
They're sort of the size of like. Look at the size of that fucking crab. Like the size of a white transit.
I'd say that's a pretty big crab.
It's a big crab. And they're psionic and they scheme and they've been running things from the shadows. It's
So can I just ask? They're in
gridlock. In the modern
no. That room that they're in is kind of like it's obviously underneath everything.
Yeah.
Kind of like in a cell-looking thing.
Well, we were joking. How did they operate the dials and the doors?
How did they get the doors open? How did they get through the doors?
There might not have been doors. The doors might have been added as an artistic decision in the animation. But
do they not need to be in water?
No, because they survived on land. They weren't oceanic creatures. They were aliens. They just looked like big crabs.
That's true.
Big bloody crabs. I love the glowing eyes. That's really creepy. Just on the little stalks. But yeah, so in Gridlock in the modern series, obviously, like they're like Godzilla-sized, and they're living under sort of essentially the lowest part of the Earth's crust that's survivable in New York. New, etc. York. And they're just feral. And in that story, it's any of the cars that get sort of sent down get basically destroyed and eaten by the Macra.
Oh my god, I get it, because of the gas. Oh.
Those ones are down there surviving off of the gases toward the centre of the planet and off of the fumes and the pollution, the air pollution of the vehicles. But it's not the kind of gas they're used to. So they've just been gorging on this stuff, getting healthy, but they've been mutating. Their bodies have been getting bigger and stronger, and their brains have basically just turned to nothing.
Like, they're just there to eat, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like the Macra, if the Macra weren't schemers like they are in this, and were just big, dumb monsters, basically.
Dumb crabs. Something that would be interesting to see is if we were to watch that Gridlock again, and see if there were any, like, Easter eggs.
Oh, there probably are. I mean, oh, well, there's one for you.
Also,
there's one for you. What are the peddlers selling in the alleyway when they arrive?
Cigarettes.
No, mood patches. Get joy. Have some joy. Buy happy. Like, it's not exactly the same, but it's a thematic.
Lovely day for it. How do you do?
Exactly. It's not exactly the same, but it's a thematic through line. And it now having watched this, their inclusion as the creatures in Gridlock makes way more sense to me because it's about the gas and the pollution.
Yeah, that's why it just clicked in my head.
Yeah, it's like, that's pretty good. That's good. Because there's no point doing another Macra story.
There's not much more you can really do.
Well, exactly. So when Russell's writing Gridlock, he's like, so we just want something living in like the pollution. The Macra, they fed off like gas.
It's a great idea.
Brilliant. I'll bring them in, and they've gone big and dumb because it's like millions of years in the future.
Big and dumb. Love it.
So it's like the Macra essentially have like devolved over the millennia.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's a great. Thinking about it now, that's a great inclusion of an old classic villain.
Macra Terror. Go on.
I was just going to say it does suffer from
pacing
old story syndrome, which is
I think all four of these stories suffer from too long. Yeah,
too long.
And the thing is, people go, "Well, you meant to watch one a week. That's how it went out." We near enough did. We did like. Each of these is either 6 or 7 parters, and we would do 2 episodes in a sitting.
Yeah.
And then a few nights later, we do another couple of episodes. Yeah. So we still kind of spread it out. And I think part of the pacing is also down to the animation direction, but that differs from story to story. But again, we'll talk about that at the end. But the Macra Terror, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it quite a bit.
Fun.
Up next, the Macra Terror bleed. I love that 3 of these bleed directly into each other as well, like back-to-back stories. We bleed into the Faceless Ones, which we saw, obviously, I think the first episode of when we did our original marathon. This is the one where they arrive at the airport, and you have Chameleon Airways, Airlines, and the idea of this... Chameleon Tours. The idea of this company that is basically slowly stealing young people going off on gap year, and taking them away to their planet for, I can't remember what was it for? Was it they were enslaved?
They stole them, made them tiny, didn't they?
Yeah, they gas them on the plane, shrank them down, and put them in storage. What was the storage for?
To steal their identities, isn't it? Like steal their bodies.
That was it. That was it. It was prerequisite to an invasion of the planet.
Yeah,
that was it.
Because what did we compare it to? What was it we compared it to?
It was the Zygons. The Zygons.
No, friggin' Marvel. We just watched the whole series.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, that's what we compared it to. Because I think we started watching that when that had just finished. Yeah.
So it's that whole thing of we're taking over and we're going to slowly replace everybody over time. We've basically got a set of people. And obviously using them in the airport was good. I think the idea of there's something going on in the airport right under what's the head of the airport called? Oh my god.
Mr. Plane.
Mr. Planes. It's Mr. Plane and it's Mystery Plane about.
Mystery Plane.
It's Mystery Plane.
It's Mystery Plane.
But
I don't know, is it...
I thought he was a wonderfully... Because he wasn't a villain, obviously. The Commandant, played by Colin Gordon, who even in vocal performance was very good.
It was funny because he was like,
he was
about?
basically not the antagonist, but the main obstacle for like the first half of the series.
I completely understand it because it's like, what are you actually talking about? That's insane.
Yeah.
Aliens, get out! There's been a murder. Where's the body? There isn't one. Get away!
Who are these people who don't have their
passport?
The secret of the Doctor and Jamie trying to talk to the passport control person who just does not give a damn until they can produce a passport. It's played for comedy, but then obviously he's like, okay, no, it's weird that these fellas haven't got a passport. I'm calling this further up.
Yeah.
Because how the hell have they got here? They're meant to have... If they've got past me already, they're meant to have documentation on them. What is going on?
Polly's been kind of... She's been taken in by it, hasn't she? She's like a student from Germany or something, isn't she?
That's really creepy. Yeah. Because she comes back on the flight with Chameleon Tours. But of course, there isn't a return flight. Mm-hmm. It's all facade. Anneke Wills plays that really well, actually. Like, it's unnerving. The downside is Polly then just kind of vanishes for the rest of the story.
Where's Ben?
And Ben just buggers right off.
I don't even remember Ben being in it.
I'm guessing Michael Craze was maybe on holiday. I don't know.
Polly's gone. I'm leaving. See ya. Bye, doctors.
Both Anneke Wills and Michael Craze were released from their contracts after episode 2, leading to their departures during the serial. The characters appear in episode 6 in scenes shot on location prior to the studio recording.
Oh.
So it was a production choice. So they were leaving their contracts were wrapping up by this point, but it meant they would have left in episode 2 of the serial, so they didn't want that. So prior to recording this block of stories, they recorded their scenes at the end of episode 6, and then went into recording the main block. Okay. So it's not that they went on holiday, it's that by that point, they'd left the production.
No way.
So there we go.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's
I do love their reasons for leaving based on this era of the show. The TARDIS is unpredictable. You cannot guarantee an exact time and place, ever. And they've landed, I think they calculate it's like a month before they left.
Yeah. In
London. It's like, you can tell that they don't want to leave, but this is the best chance they're ever going to get.
Yeah.
And it's obviously like in The Chase, where like Ian and Barbara, like, it's 2 years after we left, but it's home. And it's only 2 years after we left. Like, we've got to take this.
It's reasonable, yeah. It's
like, obviously, it's weirder in hindsight because you're like, no, the Doctor can land the TARDIS wherever. Like, they're great at it. But it's like, at this point, nope. They only really get good at it after Pertwee fixes it, after he's given back the knowledge to fly it again after the 3 Doctors.
Yeah.
So, prior to this, this is the only chance they're going to get. And, yeah, I really, really like the way they leave. It feels natural.
There is a collection of fun characters, including a Liverpudlian woman whose brother goes missing on the Chameleon Tours thing, and she's trying to find him.
Yes.
Something creepy. They send
Samantha.
They send postcards to their family when they land wherever they're from.
Oh, that is really
But they get
creepy.
them to write them before they go.
And they do it as like an exercise. Yeah. They do it as like, oh, this will be really fun. While you're waiting to board the flight, write your first postcard. Like, what are you going to tell them? Like,
this airport's great. Bye.
Yeah, that's one of those where I normally reads it to go, hang on. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? She's got a brother on the flight, and she kind of twigs, this just seems a bit off.
Yeah.
It's like,
she's trying to find him, but then her main plot is that her accent changes every few words that she speaks.
Well, there's a weird thing around that era where, like, the BBC in particular, or at least, let's face it, commissioning execs and whatnot higher up, hated thicker accents, which usually meant northern accents, outside of one-off character moments or appearances. The Queen's English, as it's referred to, RP, is heavily pushed in this era.
Oh, yeah.
Heavily pushed. So much so that when Dodo arrives at the end of the massacre, she's Mancunian. And then by the time of the arc, she's posh as you like.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that, actually.
Yeah, that's really weird. Like, why has that happened?
What?
And it's because they didn't want her to use a natural accent.
Which is a shame because Manchester's dead good in it.
It's just so weird, but yeah, I think she plays the part very well though. Pauline Collins plays Samantha quite well. The staff are nice and creepy. The obvious baddies are obvious. I like the little surgery rooms where they're basically prepping the transformations.
What a weirdo.
No, but like it's got an eerie vibe to it because it feels like it's just when you're in an industrial building or somewhere like an airport or a hospital or somewhere like that, and you can see these staff doors. Like part of you knows obviously it's just a door to an office or a door to a break room or whatever.
Yeah.
But another little part of you is like, but what if it isn't? And sometimes there's places where you work where there are rooms you don't go in very often.
We've written a short story about it.
Yeah, well, that was about a whole bloody floor. But yeah, like, think about it. Is there a place at your job, a room which people don't go in very often? You've probably been in it, but not very often. So there's like the storeroom up the top floor, for example.
No, there's a whole floor.
That's what I mean, sorry.
That nobody's been in.
At my current, let's see how this ages, part-time job, there's an office which should be in regular use, but is only ever used when one of the bosses lets somebody use the computer to log some stuff in for people's information. It's used so little that they've lost the keys on numerous occasions because they're morons.
Surprised? I am not.
But also, like, and it's where someone used to work Monday to Thursday doing admin for them until they dropped that role, and now they're forcing extra hours on people. It's like, here's an idea: hire an IT person to do the office stuff like you used to, instead of forcing everyone to do more hours. But that room is closed so much and locked off so much. I used to say that around the corner from that doorway there isn't screen pulled over and someone duplicating someone's face onto a, quite frankly, creepy-looking creature. Yeah. Now, when we see them in full colour, it's a bit...
I mean, where you work, that could possibly be the truth.
That's very true. But, like...
Sorry.
But, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I love the idea of just this innocuous little room to one side is where this is being made to happen.
It's also a good thing because there's not much you can do with an airport. There's not many scenes that will look interesting in an airport after, like, an episode or two. So having something that's quite abnormal and sci-fi is very good.
And also, I think it's in this one we briefly saw a newspaper. Yes, in this one we briefly see a newspaper on someone's desk with the war machines on it. Which makes sense because it's the year that the War Machines happens in the show, and it's like, oh, right, okay.
Nice.
It's like a blurred photograph of Bill Hartnell on the bottom corner of the front page. Yeah. Like, interesting.
Little Easter eggs. It's really strange because it's like a picture of a real thing in an animated thing. It looks really weird.
But cute. I like that.
Yeah.
Because that's the sort of thing they could have done at the time should they wanted. Another recurring Easter egg, which we'll bring up later, gets a bit intrusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this one's fine. Like, I like it when he outs the guy in the control room. Like, the doctor's onto him so early. And then he outs him.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, we know what you're up to, you sod. You're our hostage now. Take us where we need to go. Like, I like all that. That's really cool.
Jamie and, who's those? Liverpudlian woman.
Samantha.
Having a little crush on each
they
other.
They have a little bit of a meet cute thing going on, don't they?
Kiss. It's cute at the end. Little kiss.
And then Jamie's absolutely livid when Ben and Polly leave. But, yeah. Like,
why did he not go, where have you been?
Where the hell have you been? There's been bodies everywhere, and you're a different person.
I
had a dream, back. And you were there, and you were there, and you... But then... The serial ends with them turning around to find... The TARDIS is being bloody nicked. It's on the back of a truck.
It's been jimmied.
And it takes us straight into... Evil of the Daleks, mother truckers. Now, this one was one I was really looking forward to for a few reasons. Mostly because it's meant to be their last ever story. In context, this is the end... Look at that, there's a rapper still on the top of that DVD. In context, this is the end of the Daleks. This is their last... story in the show. We did watch this one, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like sticking to the top.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
right.
This is their last ever one. the final end.
Yeah, it's weird that they've not used the Daleks in it.
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? It was the final one because Terry Nation was like, "Oi, I'm taking him overseas and I'm going to make money on him. Bye, losers."
Everyone's going to want these.
I mean, they had done for the last, 3-4 years. Dalek Mania was a thing. But then
it died.
America didn't... And then it died. America didn't want them, I guess, because it didn't have anything... we've got cabin fever.
Oh, yeah.
We lost one sensory.
Sorry, that was going to bother me.
We've got cabin fever. We're all going mad. Chicka chicka bum bum chicka chicka bum bum chee. Chicka chicka bum bum chicka chicka bum bum chee. Cabin fever.
You know.
That's a plain joke, except we've moved on to the next story. Anyway, so... yeah, this one's great. So it's Terry Nation saying, I'm taking my toys and playing with them elsewhere. The show going, fine. And then David Whittaker writing the script. And as a result, it being a much more interesting Dalek story than a lot of the Terry Nation ones. Mm-hmm. If a bit dragged out. This is absolutely a 4-parter that stuck as a 7-parter.
Yeah.
They stretch it out so much they add all these extra subplots just to flesh it. And it's like, you really don't need them. Although I do love the basic premise that we learn as we go, that the Daleks are accidentally connected to this place through the experiments that are being done by Max Dibble and Waterfield. And they get sort of...
They get offered... the Daleks are saying, if you give us this, we're going to give you... the calculations on how to make gold or something, isn't it?
Well, that's the thing. They're doing the static experiments, which is a nice tie back to the original Dalek story of how they're powered.
Yeah.
They ended up creating what they use as a time corridor, which takes the shape of this cabinet. It's like elaborate sort of...
It's a nice cabinet
in the room.
Nice
they come out and they're like, right, okay,
I'm out of the closet.
You're obviously very men of learning and science, so here's the deal. We're going to show you how to turn... What is it? We're going to show you how to turn metal into gold.
Yeah,
like alchemy, gold, essentially. Yeah. But you've got to do this. The whole thing from the Daleks' POV is a trap for the Doctor.
Yeah.
This is very much a finale for the Daleks, even in terms of its plot, because it's, you keep beating us, and humanity keeps beating us whenever you're around. So obviously humanity, and the Doctor is being referred to as human as well here, because it's that whole thing of just it looks like a person.
Yeah.
Humanity clearly has something that we as Daleks do not have, and instead of admitting defeat, we're going to take it. What is it? So they want him to figure out the human factor.
Yeah.
And they've got leverage in the form of Victoria Waterfield of the house. And
the reason that they stole the TARDIS was to lure them there, because they had pictures of them.
Yes, they've been given
pictures of
pictures
Jamie
to find them. I love that first episode. It's really, there's a lot of conspiracy stuff. And it's so unusual as well for that point in the show, because it's like, hang on, someone knows who they are. What's going on?
Yeah, it really does make you think, what the heck?
Yeah.
Who has pictures of them?
It was really cool. It was like, this is genuinely...
No websites yet.
This is genuinely mysterious. Well, we do see a security office briefly. And there are definitely wanted people out and about, because we see a poster of Roger Delgado.
Roger Delgado!
Which I find very interesting. Actually, is that in this one? I know it's definitely in the next one, but is that in this one first? Pretty sure it is. Pretty sure it is.
It's definitely in the next story.
Oh God, yeah.
A little too much.
A little too much. Actually, it's definitely. Actually, I think it debuts in the next one. So ignore me. It's because there's also security rooms and stuff in this, like rooms where people are being detained. But the point is, the whole setup of someone taking the TARDIS and the idea of this antiquities shop where everything seems brand new, and that's why everyone keeps buying from there. And it's because it is brand new. It's because it's just been brought straight from the Victorian era through a time corridor. Mm-hmm. It's like, what a great idea. And his little employee is this foppish little comedy character. And Jamie and the Doctor being led on this essentially espionage goose chase, meeting him in the cafe and things like that. There's some really nice stuff in that first episode, and then the premise is amazing when it's like, hey, it was all a trap for you. Now, we've seen the live action episode, is it 2?
Yeah,
episode 2 is the one that we've seen, and that shot of them in the lab
Yeah.
and the Dalek come through the door behind them, and the moment it speaks, the way Paddy acts that out is brilliant.
Paddy is just a gem.
You just see his face go from being enraged at the situation to just like barely keeping together his panic when he suddenly realises, oh my god, it was a trap, and it's these bastards. Like, oh my god. Now, him putting Jamie through the ringer is a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Because it lasts 3 episodes instead of what could have easily been 1.
But during those episodes, we meet a new friend.
Chibnall.
Who
is great and feels kind of icky at the same time.
Yes. Because this person is not white, but also does not talk.
Yeah.
And that
he's just a mute strong man, and and he's the only non-white character.
Yeah.
And in the next story, Tomb of the Cybermen, there is only one non-white character, and he is a mute strong man.
Yep, who also dies.
Like beats the crap out of Cybermen first, but still, it's like
you get electrocuted on the.
Yes, it's at the top of that hatch, isn't it? I think
Isn't
he's
it the
fighting
doors
at the top of the hatch.
They go in?
No. He's the big guy.
Oh,
Who
he
fights him off later.
tests the doors, doesn't he?
He's the one who rips it open after someone else. We're gonna have to watch Tomb of the Cybermen again.
Okay.
But it's a bit like weird that. But I do like Chibnall's sort of like very polite and, pardon the pun, quiet crush on Victoria.
Yeah.
Like it's played very sweet. I just hope she's of age. Anyway, God.
Let's change the tone.
When we talk about animation and direction in a moment, we'll touch on this one a bit more. But I think this one's the one with the most interesting decisions in it in terms of adaptation.
Yeah.
I think they should be very proud. It's overlong.
Yeah.
But boy, when that third act kicks in, when we go back to Skaro for the first time since the Daleks, that was very cool.
It was cool.
And we get to meet
somebody that doesn't like the Daleks. That was cool.
And we get to meet these boys, the Emperor's Guards.
The Emperor's New
Groove, which means we get to meet one of my favourite villains, because he's the villain of my favourite modern series story. We get to meet the Dalek Emperor for the first time, and what a look! And the fact that that's not forced perspective or whatever, which obviously, good. It is in 2005. It's a forced perspective model, shot and integrated really well.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it is a full-sized, 15 feet tall, big old tower with a moving eye stalk and all the wires and the lights coming out of him.
Because after we watched it, we looked up screen.
Yeah, I showed you some screen grabs and stills from the filming.
So how do they exist? Well, the tape itself doesn't exist.
They'll exist in pockets, so it'll be because of things like snaps used for Radio Times or clips appearing on other shows. Like an awful lot of bits from Doctor Who episodes that are on do you remember the Lost in Time box set, where we saw snippets of some stories. A lot of them exist because they were on shows like Blue Peter as preview clips. So yeah, stuff like that.
Interesting, because I never really thought about it until just this second.
The human factor creating infantile Daleks. Alpha, Beta, and Sigma.
Yeah. What was it they were saying?
Doctor, friend,
and then
Roy Skelton and Peter Hawkins going absolutely ham on the perfect concoction of adorable and freaking creepy at the same time.
What were they saying? What were they doing? And they just kept repeating it over and over again.
Now. But they played trains. Was it
trains they were saying over and over?
They weren't saying that, but they played trains.
It was funny.
Because they scoop him up and then they follow each other around the room.
I think that was really funny. I would have loved to have seen that in real life, of the Doctor sat on the front of a Dalek.
Isn't it interesting how there are 2 Patrick Troughton Dalek stories, and in both of them, they're playing against type? Because in Power of the Daleks, I am your servant. You've got them, in that case, undercover.
Mm-hmm.
But, in this one, you've got the whole thing of like, no, these ones have actually been changed to the point where the humanity virus, like the human factor, spreads through them all at the end. And because the Daleks are going to pivot the plan, aren't they? They're like, actually, our plan was for you to figure out the human factor so we could create like the counter agent.
Yeah, a killer Dalek.
And replace it with the Dalek factor.
Mm.
And then we're going to spread that to humanity and turn Earth into a planet of essentially brainwashed Dalek warriors. And then, what's a shame with that, because when you see Maxtable hit with the Dalek, like a man who's been messing with people's heads and emotions throughout the whole story gets turned into a screamy zombie robot man.
Yeah, and I've got to say, the animation for that guy, fucking hell, that was scary.
But made even more kind of weird looking when you looked at the live action stills of him and went, they look nothing alike.
Yeah.
Like, what on earth? This beard in the animation was a weird choice.
It was.
But I guess it was for ease, because it's flash animation, isn't it? So they want to be able to move the plates around easier. But animated friends watching this going, what are you talking about? I'm just using terminology off the top of my head, leave me alone.
Knowledge.
You knew what I meant, even if I used the wrong words. Knowledge.
That's alright, I don't know what you're talking about, so.
Bing, bing, bing.
Bing, bing.
Like, so what you're saying is when someone's got the Dalek factor, they just talk like this and shout a lot. No, then again, he did trick people, like he tricked the Doctor into ended up getting in the Dalek factor, so like, he was devious. But like, and he was already a shit eel, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, but I love that it ends essentially with a Dalek civil war.
Yeah.
Where a bunch of them with the human factor murder the Emperor's guards and kill the Emperor. It's like, this is pretty sick. I like it.
It's weird, I've not thought about it until now, but the newer ones of the Dalek Emperor.
Yes.
They sound really alike.
How do you mean?
Like the way that they speak.
Well, see, the newer ones, there's only been one Dalek Emperor in the modern series.
Yeah, in Eccleston's.
Yeah.
And that comparison...
that deep voice. Yeah.
Is amazing. Really, really good.
Well, Briggs does a good job in the modern era, and Skelton and Hawkins do a great job in this era. I think that by this point, the Dalek voice is nailed, and then it cocks up a little bit as it goes in the next era, and then it kind of plateaus out again for like the 80s. Yeah. But like, they just sound great in this. Yeah. They sound so much fun. And I've got
to say, as a person that doesn't actually like the Daleks, I enjoyed this story. And also, I thought it was really cute. I don't know if you noticed, but in the background of the... What?
You're adorable, go on.
In the background, in the lab, you could see the Daleks, the Omega, Alpha, Beta. Is that what
no, Alpha, Beta, and Omega. Yeah. Sorry,
yeah. You can see them slowly being like built up. Like
throughout the story,
every so often there would be a new layer to them, and then there'd be a new layer to them, and then they've got their heads on. It was like But also it shows the gooey alienness.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Dalek guts, and then there was the fake out one where you thought it was Omega, and it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
So and the Doctor realised because it wasn't his drawing.
He killed the Dalek.
He murders the Dalek. He pushes it off into a volcanic eruption. If this had been their last story, I think it would have been a cool way to go out. But it also would have been really, really weird, I think, if we were up to where we are now, like 60 plus years on.
Yeah. And
then not having been in it since would be like, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
There was such a significant portion of that first 6 years of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they came back.
Yeah, I am as well.
And I think Day of the Daleks is a great story to bring them back in as well. I
just don't think they should have been used as much as they were.
In the modern era.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They're barely around. After the 60s, they're barely around in the show. They have like 5 stories after that.
Christopher would say, don't worry, we've only got 2 more stories with me. Counting down to the ones where they're not bloody in them. Are there any Doctors that don't encounter them?
On camera, McGann. But they do feature.
They do feature, yeah. In
the story, at the beginning, killing the Tipple Master. Every live action Doctor as of this recording has encountered them on screen. The 14th Doctor, probably Yeah.
Where?
Revelation of the Daleks.
Oh, yeah.
With in his testicles on the fence.
Ah!
Yeah.
His pocket watch.
That's my favourite Dalek story from the era as well. Like, Remembrance is great, but I love that one because it's like so creepy, like the mortuary idea and all that.
Yeah.
It's just, so
I
unnerving.
can't lie to you. I laugh at the names because it's just of the Daleks.
Oh, it's dumb. It's dumb. Yeah.
But I can't differentiate.
Here it's not too bad, I think. So the Dalek stories are, in terms of what count as Dalek stories, people in the comments will be like, Mission to the Unknown! Shut up.
It's...
the Husbands, the Wedding River Song, shut up, doesn't count, it's a cameo. The Waters of Mars, a cameo, shut up. So the Dalek stories are the Daleks, the Dalek invasion of Earth, the Chase. Oi!
I'm joking.
Yes,
right. Oh yeah, okay. So they're not
the
in the
Daleks
Chase.
Master Plan. They are in the Chase.
No. It's not.
Oh yeah, no.
The Daleks
Master Plan, which
Chase
is
the Doctor.
But Daleks Invasion of Earth and Daleks Master Plan is still, Daleks Master Plan. Then it's I was like, hang on, there's another one. No, it's the cameo in the Space Museum, where it's just the hollowed out Daleks when the Doctor hides in it. He hides in the armour.
Oh yeah.
He pokes out. He's like.
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
Then they show up in the Second Doctor's era with Power of the Daleks and Evil of the Daleks.
Yeah.
And then they're done.
Yeah.
But then they come back in Day of the Daleks, Death to the Daleks, Planet of the Daleks, Genesis of the Daleks, Destiny of the Daleks, Resurrection of the Daleks, Revelation of the Daleks, Remembrance of the Daleks.
Renaissance of the Daleks.
And then in the modern era, what's the name of their first story? Dalek.
Jesus.
Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways.
Mm-hmm.
Army of Ghosts, Doomsday.
Yeah.
The Daleks, Daleks in Manhattan / Evolution of the Daleks. That's the first one that's calling back to it. Yeah. The Stolen Earth and Journey's End.
Oh, look, there's Daleks.
No.
Watch this episode, there's Daleks.
Victory of the Daleks.
Mm-hmm. Reboot of the Daleks.
No. What's the next one? Series 7, Asylum of the Daleks.
The Daleks take a holiday.
Shush you. Into the Dalek. Day of the Doctor, kind of. Into the Dalek.
Out of the Dalek.
Up the Dalek.
Around.
Carry on up the Dalek.
Carry on, Dalek.
Carry on, Dalek. Carry on, exterminating. God, hang on. Into the Dalek. The Magician's Apprentice and the Witch's Familiar. Does they show up in Series 10? The cameo in Series 10, don't
To be fair, you could be saying anything and I'd go,
You know these stories.
Yeah, but I know the stories, but I don't know the names of them.
The cameo in the pilot, don't they? Because there's the scene with the Movellans. Bill and the Doctor running through that ship. And the puddle, the head of the puddle kills a Dalek from the inside.
Yeah.
Minor spoilers for the area you're about to watch. I mean, obviously, a couple of them show up in Twice Upon a Time, but it's not a Dalek story.
Just remember.
Resolution. Are you ready? Resolution. Revolution of the Daleks. Eve of the Daleks. And they are also. I would also say that they count in Power of the Doctor as well because they play a significant
Christmas Day of the Daleks.
No.
New Daleks.
I'm spending Christmas with a Dalek as a song.
Happy New Dalek.
Is this Goosebumps? Are you just coming up with Say Dalek and Die?
Dalek Breath.
Don't go into the Dalek. Dalek Breath.
The Man Behind the Dalek.
Night of the Living Dalek.
Bride of Dalek.
The
Invisible Dalek.
Oh God.
Dalek Man. What?
The Cuckoo Clock of Daleks? I don't know. Right.
The Little Dalek.
The Little Dalek.
Oh my God, please somebody make that. That's so funny.
And then, of course, Victoria joins them on their journey. La la la. What a happy future she's going to have with the Doctor and Jamie. I hope it doesn't end terribly. 9 stories later.
I was a bit angry that she didn't really care that her friend died. She just kind of went, oh no.
Oh, Kemmel?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, her dad dies as well.
Well, yeah, true.
Everybody dies!
Everybody dies.
But I've got to say, knowing that before we then went into this one, our last of our little binge, Fury from the Deep, it did kind of inform where she was emotionally, really. Because obviously Tomb of the Cybermen deals with her sort of trying to adjust to it all. There's that lovely scene, which I adore, where like everyone's asleep at the base, they're trying to sort of hunker down, and Victoria can't sleep, and it's the Doctor and Victoria have a chat, do you remember? And she's talking about, like, you know, when people are gone, like, do you miss them? And he's talking about, like, yeah, my family are, like, long gone, but, like, whenever I want to think of them, they're in here, and, you know, I think of them, and that keeps them alive. And it's this lovely little, like, you can see that he's the father figure that she needs right now. But she goes through some pretty disastrous stuff. The next stories are Tomb of the Cybermen, The Abominable Snowmen, The Ice Warriors, God, she goes through hell in that one, The Enemy of the World, with your sexpot Salamander.
Hell yeah.
The Web of Fear, with your partial sexpot Colonel Lethbridge Stewart, and the Yetis in the Underground.
Really?
And then Fury from the Deep. So she's been through hell. She's encountered Cybermen and Yetis and evil Patroutons, and she's having, you know, she's not having any of it.
Oh no, I'll swap places with you, Victoria,
Oh,
for
God.
evil Patrick Dragon.
But
Those boots, man.
I totally understand her.
It's a bit much for a young Victorian girl,
Yes,
isn't it?
that's the thing, isn't it?
Going from, you know, having to light fires to warm yourself, having to wear 700,000 million layers of clothes because it was indecent if you didn't, to wearing short skirts, being in a place where technology exists. She probably doesn't even know what electricity is, and having this.
And now she's
thrust
fighting.
upon her.
And now she's fighting evil sea foam and an oiling.
She's
like an
probably
oil
like,
rig.
I'm tired. I don't understand. My legs are out. Is this okay? I don't feel okay. Help me.
Can I just preface this up front?
As a woman with Victoria in her name, I
Just dox yourself, sure.
am also tired. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
This is my favourite of the four.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the completely unfamiliar premise.
Yeah.
The unfamiliar threat that I really dug in this one. Because obviously, you know, Faceless Ones we'd seen a little bit of, and it is basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know, Daleks we've dealt with before. The Macra was sort of used to and everything. But, like, this one was just, it was so old school. There's something on the radar.
Yeah,
What could it be?
You don't really know what's coming.
That it tickled that, like, part of my brain that loves your basic horror story.
Yeah.
The idea of seaweed being, you know, alive is like, all right, okay, whatever.
It's super scary for kids.
But that's the thing, isn't it? If you're a kid watching this, next time you go to the beach with your family on holiday,
It's the seaside with your bucket in
next
the
time you
bay.
see sea foam, you're like, no, that means they're nearby.
Also, sea foam is gross. Gross.
Yeah, but then playing in it was adorable
Don't
at the start of
touch it.
episode 1.
I can't. I just can't. They are the cutest. It just makes me think of... I can't remember what episode it is. I just can't. That the Doctor sees the sea. It's Paddy. Doctor sees the sea and he just strips off and just jumps in the sea. And there's that amazing shot where he like clicks his heels, goes to click his heels and just lands in the sea.
Is it the Underwater Menace?
I don't know. I'm going to have to find it.
That's right.
It's so precious. But it's little things like that. He's so childlike and goofy that he's just so precious, and he needs to be protected at all costs.
But it also served a beautiful bookend to this story. That their first scene here is them on the beach having a giggle. Like, in sort of wintry wet weather, and, you know, he's got his woolly hat on and everything. But they're having a laugh.
I found it!
What's it from? Is it the Underwater Menace?
I don't know, let me find it. Carry on what you saying. Oh, sorry.
Volume off, sir. Like, for them to start on this, like, blustery day at the beach, and it's all wet and windy.
Enemy of the World.
Oh, it's the Enemy of the World! Oh,
It's
yeah.
so cute! I'm going to watch it now.
Jesus Christ. She's watching a clip. She's watching a clip.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
Middle of a video, she's watching a clip.
No, I'm...
For this to start with them in, you know, on a horrible, miserable day, but having a lovely time, and then getting caught off guard with the investigation. But it's like, look at how good these friends are.
Yeah.
and for the story to end with the same friends saying goodbye.
Yeah.
In this sort of... Like, how many companions can you think of have left because they're like, I just can't do this anymore? Like, Tegan. Tegan leaves, she's
Martha?
like, I can't do this anymore. Martha, but very much on her own terms. She's like, this was brilliant, but it was also the worst thing ever, and I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
We're not done, though. We're not done. You better come see me. And it's like, okay. But, like, because there are companions you sort of leave because they find something else, you know what I mean? Or they're made to leave.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's like, I can't do it anymore. And it takes the Doctor to be like, do you want to go?
Yeah.
And the way that Jamie's so like, no! And Doctor's like, it's up to Victoria, mate. Calm down.
It's like their little brother and sister.
Yeah.
It's really cute. And he wants to protect her.
He gives the little smooch on the forehead at the end.
Don't say smooch and brother and sister.
It's a little kiss on the forehead. It's sweet.
Yeah,
they're not actually brother and sister. So.
And the fact that they argue is really cute. Like, she wants to open the door to their cell because they were seen tinkering with the stuff outside, some of the technology outside, because the Doctor's curious and can't.
Well, you can hear a heartbeat in the pipes.
Yeah.
Just such a great hook. And then when they get there,
he's just curious.
and find there's at least one member of the staff who are like, I've heard it too.
Yeah.
And just today we can't get in touch with the rig. It's like, oh, it's so creepy.
And they get, accused of tampering with things. You're the reason we can't get in touch with people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they get put in a cell, and the Doctor and Jamie are trying to get through a vent over the top. I mean, that's bad planning, that. Don't put a vent over the top of a cell. That's just... You may as well put an arrow saying you can get out here. And Victoria's like, I can open it with a hairpin.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, don't worry about it, Victoria. And Jamie falls out on the other side. And Victoria just opens the door.
Yeah.
I just think that's so funny. That is so cute. I love it. So their dynamic together was one of my favourites because they were just so cute. But also, she has an amazing scream. Which
they utilised as a plot point in this. Victoria survives her encounters numerous times. Like, she gets stalked by him, she gets, like, throttled by him.
She gets locked in a room with the foam and stuff.
But she survives it because in her panic, in her fear, she screams, and it's the thing that makes the Doctor realise, wait a minute. Sound. Like that kind of pitch is really freaking him out. Which is handy, considering in this story, for the first time, he uses something called the sonic screwdriver.
It looks like those straws you can buy, reusable straws, metal ones. It looks like one of them.
Well, you know what it looks like? It looks like a pen light.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Because it is one.
Oh.
Yeah. They couldn't quite get a prop right, so he literally just took one from the prop room and used that instead. That's why when it comes back in John's era and they're like, oh, we're going to make this a thing, they go all out on it. Yeah. And they design it, and it's got like the sort of the screw top head and the circular bit and the yellow neck and everything. They wanted to go a bit more, let's dedicate a prop properly for this. But like in this, it's at the beginning and then bookended. It's used at the end with the device to amplify everything. The creatures. The characters are really good.
Yeah, really.
Your
good.
favourites, of course, being Mr. Quill and Mr. Oak, the already infected members of the team.
Favourite is not not favourite.
So
they
creepy.
Are creepy. And having looked at the screenshots from
the episode,
I've got to say, this animation, they got it bang on.
Mr. Quill doing his weird scream is
horrible.
Yeah.
No, please. No, thank you. Yeah, but the creature, as well, you were going to say.
The way it operates, we realise that it can sort of infect people. Because that's the thing, the implication is that it's something that's at the bottom of the ocean that's maybe been there for a long time. And it's waking up. And it's trying to spread. And sometimes it's just a little bit of seaweed, like the bit with the experiment on the TARDIS, where they construct a little lab around the console.
I reckon he just pulled it out.
That's what I mean.
I had this
flat packs.
Just out.
I like that. But it's sometimes it's just a little piece and the one that Mrs. Harris finds in the book. Sometimes it's these big tendrils. There's an implication from the book the Doctor finds that the Kraken of mythology
this is where
may have been one of these things.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big like cephalopod. It was just seaweed.
Bringing out the good words.
All right, it wasn't a big squid boy. It was just seaweed and the foam, but it was big. And then the payoff to that, of course, toward the end when they're on the rig and they're leaving, the giant like tendrils of it just like flapping around the building. And it's like, wow, the helicopter sequence is great.
Really
That's so
good,
much
yeah.
fun, especially when he's like. He realises the only way we're getting off is if we fly the helicopter that's here in the foam.
It's scary. We're going to die. Doctor's really excited about
I've always wanted to fly one of these. You're like, oh my god. And then as they're going along, he's asking for a bit of help from the other helicopter pilot as he comes to meet them. And he's like, yes, just one more thing. Could you possibly tell me how I could land this? Because he's never figured that part out.
So cute.
That's so good. I would love to have seen that sequence in live action. I'm curious as to how it would have looked. But yeah, Robson was a great sort of antagonist. Van Lutyens was the guy who was coming over saying, look, there is stuff going on here. Like, can't you tell? Who we referred to affectionately as the creature, because the way he was sort of drawn made him look like Frankenstein's monster.
Bless him.
And then we saw a screen grab of him. It was like,
oh my god,
they're not far off.
He looks just...
He's a very tall, very broad man with a large forehead and a solid hairline. He looks like Frankenstein, and he's in a brown suit with like a black turtleneck. It's like, yeah, he looks like the creature.
That's not, that's not an insult.
No, but it is quite funny.
But at first we were a bit like, oh, the animation's a bit weird for this one.
I've got to say,
a bit basic,
in hindsight, I think it was my favourite one animation-wise.
They, like I said, looking at the screenshot, there was
not just for the likenesses, but just like the slightly more obviously cartoony look was a good choice. I think.
It was. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
Animation likenesses.
Oh, there's a screenshot at the end where the Doctor's got the machine, to power the noise, and they're all like huddled together, just kind of like ah.
Yeah.
There is a screenshot of that. And I saw that screenshot just before it happened.
Yeah.
So obviously looking at the pictures, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a spoiler, but I was like, oh my god, they've got that. Bang on. It looks exactly the same. I think the people that animated this did a really, really good job.
They did a great job on this one. It's got a real creeping feeling to it.
Not gonna lie, they've all got really long arms.
Well, let's talk a little bit. Let's talk
like Slenderman.
Before we wrap up, because we have actually gone on way longer than we thought we would. Before we wrap up, let's talk a little bit about the animation overall for these stories. I think, as weird as this sounds, I don't hate it really in any of them, but I think some do it absolutely 10 times better than the others.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Macra Terror's fine, but the cell shading stuff works best for the creatures more so than the people.
Yeah.
The Macra look great.
Yeah.
And they're directed very well, and the use of lighting or lack of lighting around them looks really good.
Done well, yeah.
Gives them an air of menace that's perfect for the story. For the Faceless Ones, I think it was probably the most flatly animated.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it wasn't a very exciting story to look at.
I think that is probably as well because it was probably a bit of a boring-ish story.
It's not a boring story, but it's
it was a bit.
It's just, I think, part of the charm of it is it's a very rare Doctor Who story in the grand scheme of watching them at the time, where it's set on present-day Earth.
Yeah.
So that the novelty of that alone is like kind of exciting. But in animation, it's not that exciting.
Like I said, you can't really do much with an airport.
Yeah.
But
even Time Flight knew that, of all things, and went, let's get him off world, to the prehistoric age.
La, 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 la.
Ah, the great Khalid. What a weird choice. Anyway, I think the Faceless Ones was the least exciting visually.
Yeah.
Some nice atmosphere shots in it, but just, it was a bit...
Very, very, very thankful for them, though.
Oh, yeah. It's cool to get to see them.
Yeah, it does feel more... I don't want to say interactive, but you focus more on it than just the pictures.
I think Evil of the Daleks was the best directed. They broke the rules of trying to follow the telesnaps for this one quite a lot, and put in some shots that they clearly would not have been able to do when the story was made originally, which is taking advantage of your new medium.
That's true.
It's like, we're doing it in animation, we don't have a huge amount of money to spend, but if the Dalek's going to take the Doctor on a train ride, let's do a GoPro shot, like a modern GoPro camera locked in front of him, sort of POV of his reaction up close shot.
And also when...
Which goes around the 3D set that they've made as well.
Also when Jamie and friend knock the Dalek off of the balcony.
Yeah.
That
looked great. The Dalek flying up through the outside of the house.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't have been in there, or at least as clean as that if it was. You know what I mean? It's like, there's some great choices. The Dalek being pushed down into sort of the volcanic pit.
Yeah.
Like, amazing shots.
So very, 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 very grateful.
The Dalek fight at the end.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And I don't know if it's in the original, but like that little choice to just, like, in all the destruction, the eye stalk of one of them to light up just a little bit at the end. Because obviously we know now this wasn't their last story.
Yeah.
So suggests that actually some of them may have survived.
Yeah.
And the next time you see them, they're going to be in colour and look completely different. So a lot of time has passed for these Daleks. Yeah, it's the best directed, but I think my favourite animation was, again, it was Fury from the Deep.
Yeah.
It was still very kind of flat setting.
I'd say it was the most flat.
Yeah, but it kind of
worked.
It wore that on its sleeve from moment one.
Yeah.
In a way that it just felt like, yeah, this is the storytelling medium.
Yeah.
So when it would do little interesting things to go out of that, it took you by surprise in a really pleasant way.
Yeah.
And also, again, this one I think it wins because of the lighting. Because to clarify, you can watch these in black and white or in colour. We chose to watch them in colour. And yeah, there's really dynamic atmospheres in this one.
Yeah.
Like the bright rooms with the sort of the glowing white foam filling them up, and like Robertson's like dark quarters with the vent cracking open, and the mass of the possessed people
like
in the sea foam on the rig.
Yeah, like as they're more and more affected by it, they go
the skin
greener
tinging.
greener.
Yeah. It was good, man. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, me too.
It was fun to go back.
It's always good to have a little bit of Paddy in your life. I am very sad that I will never get to meet him.
Well, I mean, that's been the truth for a while. I love how we're talking about how grim and moody the lighting is, and over the course of the last 2 minutes alone, the sky has become grey, and the colour of this video has changed significantly.
We're awaiting Storm Agnes.
As of this recording,
yes,
yeah.
And I think she's very much on her way.
The cheeky mare.
It's quite windy.
But are you windy, gentle viewer? It doesn't make sense. What do you think of these stories? Have you seen them? Have you seen the other recons we've not touched on, like Galaxy 4, or the, as of this recording, upcoming Underwater Menace? Has the Celestial Toymaker ended up getting put together at some point? Feels like that's inevitable. There is a version online, actually, that someone's animated episode 1 all by themselves, and they've directed it.
Yeah, you say it looks quite good.
It looks amazing, because they've directed it in a way where it's like, look, they were never going to do these shots in the original, but this is the intent, so here we go.
I think that's a really, really, really good thing that they can do. Like you were saying, you can add things that they wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
Before.
And speaking of really, 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 really good things, one of my favourite episodes of Modern Doctor Who will be featuring in our next video. So join us next time as we start... Oh, hang on here before we forget. It's in Fury from the Deep, in the security office. There is a picture of the Master on the wanted board, which is a great Easter egg because the story's set in 1975. So this firmly puts UNIT in the 70s. But it's a nice little Easter egg, except they then show it about 50 times after that in different rooms of varying sizes.
It's a bit like one of those things in like a PS1 game, if you were going around a city, or if you were infiltrating some kind of military building, all the billboards would look the same.
Yes,
what
a great description. Posters. That does really take you out of it a bit. Like, seeing it the first time was like, that is a cute Easter egg, because obviously when they made this story, that would not have been a thing.
Yeah.
It's using the timey-wiminess of the show to put something fun in there for the animation.
Cheeky.
And then you keep seeing it, and it's really distractingly big in a few shots.
And he's kind of pulling a face. I'm evil kind of face.
Going forward, the videos will be faster, and there's going to be less of them. We've only got about 10 more episodes of this planned, and roughly about 12 maybe in total once we do the 60th and everything. But next time, we crack on with our modern era with The Woman Who Fell to Earth, The Ghost Monument, Rosa, Arachnids in the UK,
Rosa.
and The Saranga Conundrum.
Bonus points if you know what I was referencing.
Yeah.
Did you know what I was referencing? Don't say it.
Okay.
Do you?
I'm not going to say it. You just said not say it.
Just say yes, woman.
No.
Okay.
Yes, you're at Something in the Rain. No, what was it? What?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a beautiful time.